Sarah Anderson, welcome to the Katie McGrady Show.
Thank you. Wonderful to be here. Nice to
And I
meet you.
always love, we were supposed to, in full disclosure, it was supposed to be a conversation with your colleague, Gerardo,
It
who I
was.
feel like everybody needs to know is still in my phone as Gerardo Leah's man. Somehow that's how I put him in my phone. So I'm on my show. My phone starts ringing. I glance down. I'm like, maybe he got the time wrong. I sent it to voicemail because I was live on the air. And then he said, "Hey, would you love to interview my colleague instead? Because I think she and you would have a lot to talk about." And I was very excited. He sent me your bio, sent me an article. Sarah Anderson, we're so happy to have you, even though Gerardo, Leah's man, pawned it off on you. He and I are going to be sitting down for a webinar on Tuesday, so we'll get a
Yes,
chance to talk. But you work for PushPay, and
I
I
do.
don't know that a lot of my listeners and viewers on Substack know what PushPay is. They might hear PushPay and think PayPal. So what is PushPay, and what did you come to PushPay?
Yeah, absolutely. PushPay is not PayPal.
No.
Pay is a technology company that actually really aims to connect people together and specifically for churches. And we have a wonderful, growing and blossoming business in the Catholic segment. So that's a big part of my role. So that's what PushPay does. We provide software to churches that also are able then to use that software for congregations. Katie, we were talking about envelopes before, so that people people can give online. A lot of the generation coming into the church prefer really digital transactions, and so that's a big part of our business as well. But really, at the end of the day, we aim to build technology so that the consumers of that technology can really do what they do best, what they wanted to say yes to when they got into church ministry, which is to minister people, to grow the kingdom, to
Mm,
help people be more like Jesus. And so that's what PushPay does, and I'm super blessed and excited to work here.
yeah.
How I got here, that's a pretty fun story. So if you'd like, I'm happy to share that.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So I worked at John Deere for about 15, 16 years.
Cool. In
Yes,
Moline, Illinois.
in Des Moines, Iowa, actually, but yes,
Yeah.
headquartered out of Moline. And so I worked there for a long time. And it was a great company, a wonderful job. And my husband and I have 4 children, and I really wanted to get to a place where I could use my professional knowledge with something that I was passionate about. And I'm absolutely passionate about my faith, so I kind of put it out there, if you will, and said out loud to a group of friends that someday I really want to be a Catholic product manager. I said it
Oh,
out loud, and I had no idea what that meant, none at all. Okay, so I had found my way into product and technology at John Deere, and I was like, it'd be really cool if there were like any Catholic tech products out there. Maybe I could have a job doing that. And honestly, I had no idea that PushPay existed at the time. And as I was looking and exploring for other career opportunities, my friend called me one day and she's like, "Sarah, you told me you want to be a Catholic product manager, and I just had an interview, and PushPay is trying to hire Catholic employees to support the Catholic Church. You really should talk to them." And I'm like, Sarah, her name's Sarah also, and I'm like, Sarah, I have another job offer on the table. Like, I don't know who this company is. Like, it's a little bit of a surprise.
hmm.
She's like, "But you told me that's what you wanted." She's like, "It's your dream job." And so I entertained the conversation, fell in love with the company, the opportunity, the mission of the company to support the Catholic Church and through technology, and really just the opportunity, really truly, for like a dream come true to be able to use my professional knowledge and experience to really connect with my faith and help really grow my faith personally, but also support churches and growing the faith of everyone.
Yeah. I love that a mission-driven company can be so attractive from a professional perspective, but then also it's like at the end of the day, it wasn't just a paycheck that was earned. It wasn't just, okay, a product has been sold. It's we've helped people, that line that you said, we're building technologies to help people actually do the thing that they wanted to do when they got into ministry. I my career in the church world began as a youth minister. And like I remember sitting in the office basically having to beg for permission to pay for like a group me subscription so I could group text, because it was like this, there wasn't this understanding of No, if I have to send an individual text to every kid or like put us all on the same group chain, it's not going to be efficient communication. And then we're not going to be able to get the information out that we need to actually get them in person, which is the goal. Now that was 2012. So like we've come a long way since then. That youth ministry is still thriving and they
Good,
have a
good. Thank
lot
you
more
for your
things.
service. Thank you.
Right. And it's just like, okay, like there are still teenagers showing up to that church and they are communicating effectively. But there was kind of this disconnect. I don't want to blame an older generation because there's plenty of people who embrace the technology. I think a lot of times though there's not a knowledge or there's this belief that like technology is big and bad and is going to make us less human when in reality PushPay is trying to create tools and use the machines that already exist for humans to be able to human better. Tell me a little bit about that mission.
Absolutely, and that is so central to what we do. And Katie, recently PushPay published an article referencing Pope Leo's declaration really to all of us and how to use AI and technology responsibly. And PushPay absolutely has taken that with high regard. And just in general, our ethos about the purpose of technology is embedded in everything that we do, every decision that we make is very much discerned on making sure that the technology that we put in the hands of people is actually something that is intended to help them connect with humans better,
Mhm.
right? So how can we remove some of the really consistent and, administrative almost functions in a way, and then with the information and the data through technology, how can we use technology to help pull out some of those insights, right? So that we can truly minister to each human. And so that's how technology is actually really beautiful, right? Like it can help do a lot of the mundane tasks, right? Like the tasks that we don't need to necessarily connect with another human for, right? We need to connect data. We need to know who's in the group. We need to be able to send out the message, right? Like technology is beautiful for that. But as we as humans get to know each other and collect that information, think of how we can truly nurture and inspire discipleship and growth. And technology is really great at that. So magisterium from an LLM standpoint, right? So you think about what technology can do today and being able to look at all of the data. True, it's data, but to be able to look at it from a ministerial impact and then actually be able to know how to talk to those people in your youth group, how to treat them as an individual, how to reach out to them in a time of need at just the right moment. And we're building technology that does that. That does that every day for people that work in the church that said yes to their job at the church to be able to serve the kingdom, right? And it's so beautiful. And to your point of like how we build that into PushPay, like we the people that work at PushPay have that moral compass guiding us every
Mhm.
single day. And with that, and I think Pope Leo references that really beautifully, right? Like technology is built by human intelligence, right? And if we build it with the right center, the right compass, it it absolutely will help grow the kingdom.
Yeah. I love that you referenced Magisterium AI, which is really the only AI anything that I've used with consistency. And I for 2 reasons. One, it, like, has a cutoff, like, you only get 90 queries on the free account, which is great. Like, ChatGPT also has a cutoff, but, like, it'll, like, let you keep going, and then
Yeah.
there's all these ads. That's not, by the way, not if you're using chat, fine. But the other day I asked Magisterium I've been putting together this show on Catholic American history. And, like, I've read many Catholic American history books, took a Catholic American history course in college. I've also slept since then and, like, have 2 kids and a job and, like, a lot going on. So I was trying to think of key figures in American Catholic history from, like, 1800 to 1875, a very specific time in American history. And I had a few names, right? Okay, Elizabeth Ann Seton, like, I've got some people, but I knew I was missing some people. So I went to Magisterium and I typed in my query, and it spit back, "I don't actually have that information in my database." And so, like, admitted fault. Like, it admitted, like, I don't have the answer rather than grasping at
Guessing?
straws or, like, trying to, "Could you phrase your question a different way?" And I was like, ChatGPT would never. Like, it would never admit that it didn't have the answer. It would just try to keep me on the hook. And it was this beautiful this is how the human built technology with the artificial intelligence is actually honoring my human wisdom and not lying to me. And so PushPay's products, I think, sit in that same category of we care about the person clicking the button and we want the button to then allow them to step away from the clicks so that they can go meet the people who are going to benefit because they hit that click. Does that kind of make sense?
Absolutely, totally. And another build on that is we want to make like, as you know, a lot of churches have volunteers, and so we recently built a tool called AI Search within our software. So PushPay is a CHMS as well. So we're constantly helping you keep track of the humans that you minister. And AI Search in a way does that. Like it gives you back your time, but it also what we have found is one of the beautiful things about it is that people are excited to share the load, if you will, of
Mm,
using technology. And so a lot of people are, have hesitations of learning and using AI, but we have found with this AI search tool that of many of the different values that people are getting out of it is that, wow, now I can share, you, Katie, can go in and ask a question in natural language, like with words, and you don't need to know the if then this or that query build that used to be our search. And so now we can share ministry
mm,
because it's delightful and easy to use. And we know like churches are run by volunteers and they change over, right? Because people have kids, because people's lives change,
mhm.
and we depend on those volunteers. And to be able to really have an intuitive piece of software also, technology will help us get there faster as well in
Mhm.
terms of helping people intuit how to use it, right? So we're giving people back their time, but we're also making it delightful and easy to onboard in a way because that's
Yeah.
important too.
Yeah. There's somebody in my life who moved to a new town many, many years ago, raised Catholic, went to church, and nobody ever asked her who her name or where she was from or why she was there. And, God love her. There may be other things going on that led her to drift away from the faith, but like that is something she has referenced multiple times in conversation. Nobody saw me there. Nobody really noticed that I was there. And like PushPay, which makes it easy for a person to give, kind of that initial, like, whether it's the QR code on the back of the pew or, like, the little card that you pick up at the front that says, like, "Donate here," whatever it is, or just even, like, "Tell us who you are." This search query use thing,
Hmm.
that's not the right term for it, but this shows my lack of tech knowledge in some ways, right? I'm still a troglodyte in some areas, but, like, this is a way for I want the pastor of a parish to know everybody's name. I also recognize he is a human being with a lot on his plate. I want the parish secretary to know when a person has stepped through the front doors for the first time. But this allows a better organization of it, a better access point, even stuff like, okay, so when Gerardo demoed it for me, he was like, okay, this is all the baptisms that happened this past year. How cool would it be if like a pastor throws a baptism party every quarter and all the families had their babies baptized come together for like a barbecue and like, "Hey, mom and dad, how you doing? Like, are you sleeping at night? Do you need childcare help?" Or even just like meeting other Catholic families. And it's one thing if like father has a ledger on his desk of like, these are all the babies I baptized. It's another thing to have that information quickly available and a phone call and a text message and an advertisement can be put out there to welcome families to engage and participate better. So I see nothing but benefits for this.
Yeah, that's
Address
a beautiful story of what PushPay provides.
Yeah, well, and that's just like I hope somebody listening does that idea. I'm like, I need to have another baby so I can go to the baptism party, right? Like, I think that's a great, fun thing to do for family communities. Some people are still gonna be hesitant though, right? Like, some people still they bristle. I will be very honest, on my show, I have railed against AI on occasion because human wisdom can never be supplanted by artificial intelligence, and sometimes it feels like, especially in, like, classrooms with students who aren't deeply thinking anymore, because they're looking for
Mhm.
quick hits of information rather than using the tool to help them. So what do you say to the person who's hesitant or who's like, "No, no, no, I'm gonna do this the old-fashioned way." Like, how is PushPay actually innovative and usable and not the robots coming to take everybody's jobs?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have so many different answers to that question. I'm stuck back on the point about school where I mentioned I have 4 children and that yes, they need to use their brains for sure. Okay, how do I answer this question well? So, how do we make sure at PushPay? So, we have our own AI ethics and guidelines. So,
Mhm.
whenever we're building something, we have guidance for ourselves as a company that we
Mhm.
on our customers' behalf. We will create technology and artificial intelligence and things that help do actions with people's permissions and visibility, and we will tell you how we got there. So I think
Mm.
that's one way as a company that we are ensuring that the robots are not going to take over. We also offer that for our customers, for our churches, because churches are using technology too, and they have some of those same fears of, well, should we be using it in our church office? And so PushPay, because we spent a good amount of time kind of researching and discerning kind of what good ethics look like with technology and practice. We're a tech company.
Mhm.
And so we offer that for churches. So that's good to know, or for anybody listening, that in terms like to help, right? To help you make good decisions, to make sure that you check yourself and use your brain. Creating a policy is not a terrible idea. So we have one of those and we offer that to churches. You said a couple of other things, Katie, and I had some thoughts and I lost them. So can you bring me back, because
Yeah, well, it's
I
like I
want
think
those
there
ideas to come back into my
yeah, it
brain?
is this so, like, one of my big fears with ChatGPT and, like, education, and this is something that we've talked about a lot as a family, is, like, we're never gonna use some sort of chat or some sort of search function to replace our own human curiosity or to do
Yeah,
the thinking for us. So,
yeah,
like, my husband is a dean of students at a school, and they have a policy where, like, an email cannot be drafted by a chatbot. It can be edited by the chatbot. It can maybe be like, "I need an answer to a question so that I can then put it in the email." But, like, you're not gonna start with a draft that was drafted by something artificial and then humanize it. You create it as a human and then allow artificial intelligence to maybe improve it. And so, like, I think there's this we have to find that balance. I love this code of ethics. And so I guess my line of thinking is there are some people who are hesitant to use it because they don't know that you can create these boundaries or they're worried that they're gonna come for their jobs. Like, I am thinking of the Paris secretaries, like, "But I know everybody's birthday. I don't want the chat to find the birthday for me." So there is this, I think, hesitation. The Holy Father is soon to come out with an entire encyclical that we know will be about artificial intelligence. So I think we'll get a lot of direction here. But, like, PushPay is grappling with that. You guys aren't just like, everybody use the robot.
yes, correct. We are grappling with that, and I'm super excited for Pope Leo's message that will come out soon. One of the things that we have had this conversation many times in some of the public speaking opportunities that PushPay shows up at. And one of the things that I like to center back on, especially for the Catholic faith, is that Catholics in general, like, look back 2000 years ago. So you're doing a history of the Catholic Church. Like, Catholicism in general, the Pope in general, has often been at the cutting edge of technology. And so I think, like, for me, that's something I often share with people. If you think back to the printing press for the Bible, or the first
Mhm.
radio, right? The first radio
Microphones.
show,
Yeah.
a lot of that technology and a lot of that exploration and using that technology was explored by Christians, by Catholics.
Mhm.
That's cool. So in a way, I think it's actually our responsibility to explore bravely the new technology, so
Yeah.
that we can ensure that the right boundaries, the right guidance is set up for that technology, because it's the robots aren't going to go away. Technology is not going away. And so there will be that temptation to have ChatGPT write your email. There will be that temptation to do a bunch of research and spit it out and not actually read what's been written. And I think of it as our human responsibility, actually, to bravely, with discernment, explore this new technology so that we can use it for the good of the Christian population, so that we can grow the kingdom. Because if we
Yeah.
don't, it's going to evolve around us without our guidance.
Mm.
And I think if you look at the alternative of a world where we let it happen to us versus a world where we are involved in the influence and the results. I think it's better to be involved in the result. I think it's better to have formed an opinion than to have an opinion formed for you.
Mm,
And you can't do that if you don't explore a little bit. So I would encourage bravery with discernment, with prayer, and then you know that the output, right,
mhm.
is what it's supposed to be. And I think and I hope that we'll hear some of that when Pope Leo comes out with
Yeah,
his.
yeah, I mean, I think the fact that it's named Magnifica Humanitas is it seems very evident he's gonna come at it from an angle of, "Look at the magnificent human wisdom,"
Yes.
rather than just be a screed against the artificial intelligence, and that there will be you can see that already in the document from the Dicastery for Education, that, like, tool, machine, human driven. How do we use it for our benefit rather than it use us? And PushPay is at the cusp of this conversation and with
Yes.
this technology. How can people learn more? People are going to hear this. We have a lot of pastors that listen to
Yeah.
our show, a lot of parish secretaries, a lot of diocesan employees. Where can they go to learn more? And then, of course, we've got a webinar on Tuesday at 12 noon Central digging into AI and families. I'll be on that webinar with your colleague Gerardo, Leah's man. So where can
Finally.
people find out more?
I'm glad he'll show up on the call at some point. Yes. So pushpay.com/innovation is a great place to go to land, to learn more. And Katie, you nailed it. Pushpay has a series of webinars that we are hosting together with others such as yourself. So Katie, you're showing up April 1st, I think at 1 p.m. Eastern time with the topic of shepherding families through the AI revolution, a Catholic leader's guide. So super excited
No
that
pressure.
make sure you help people know how to do that. Well, I have all faith that you will do that. Fantastic. So yeah, and we have those scattered throughout the rest of the year. And so pushpay.com/innovation is a great place to go and get started. And from there you'll find all the different ways to access some of the blogs and the articles and the webinars that we offer. Yeah,
And they're all totally free. Customers of
absolutely.
PushPay and people who are just curious. I know I will be sending an email soon to my pastor saying, "I think we should use them because
Thank you.
reasons," right? So, Sarah Anderson,
Absolutely.
I'm so grateful for your time. Thanks for joining us.
You bet. Thank you.